Well, good morning, everyone. We'll kick off our Saturday morning weather forecast with a quick tour of the Neighborhood Weather Network. First up, Century Casino up in Cripple Creek. A good bit of cloud cover over the Pikes Peak region this morning. It's a very comfortable 55 degrees up there. And the wind right now is not much of a factor anywhere. We have 65 at American Furniture Warehouse. Bonnie was just talking about some of the construction there at I-25 in Fillmore. That's where we're looking. But, you know, this time early on a weekend morning, there's not too much going on. So moving smoothly, nice to see that. 73 degrees currently at Parkview Medical Center under a mostly cloudy sky. You see a light southwesterly breeze. It's only around 5 miles an hour at the moment. So we have a lot of areas in the 60s to around 70 in eastern Colorado. Higher terrain, well, more likely 40s and 50s. Salida 62 at last check, and a good bit of cloud cover floating across the state here this morning. Skycast shows that will be the case through lunchtime, though we wouldn't expect much threat for rain before that time frame. Of course, as we move into the afternoon, we'll start to cook up the available moisture into some showers and thunderstorms. But notice today that these look to be pretty spotty here through 3 o'clock. And so we're not expecting a lot of this activity, maybe a 10 to 20% coverage, and at least through this time frame, not likely going to see anything that would be severe. Look for 80s and 90s along I-25, perhaps mid-90s over the southeastern plains. 60s and 70s should cover it for most of the mountains and mountain valleys. Salida might hit about 81 degrees. Now, as we press through the middle and latter half of the afternoon, a little better chance for some storms to start developing, especially out across the plains. Now, again, we don't see any large areas of rain on this map, so we're still talking about a spotty coverage at about 10 to 20%. But we will have to track these storms this evening out here on the eastern plains for the potential that we may again see storms capable of producing some severe weather. Greatest threats would be some large hail, maybe greater than 1 inch in diameter. We had that yesterday. Some wind gusts around 60 miles an hour. Of course, any storms could produce frequent lightning and some brief downpours today. That activity should then wind down overnight tonight, leaving us with a mixture of clouds and starlight, though I do think by tomorrow morning some of the thicker clouds will be drifting off over the southeastern plains. Highs tomorrow look pretty similar to today, so back into the mid-80s. We'll keep the storm coverage at about 20%. A weak cold front will arrive on Monday. Now, that's going to help take the edge off the heat, which will be nice, but it also should ramp up the thunderstorm coverage to about 40%. And we do think that storms Monday will have the capacity to produce some very heavy rain and could be slow moving. So there may be some potential for some flash flooding, particularly on the burn scars. Now, as we head through the middle of next week, looks like we'll thin out that water a little bit. Some will begin to warm up. The storms will remain in the forecast, but we expect less of them, and they probably wouldn't be as proficient as far as the rain is concerned. Pueblo looking for temperatures to be in the low to mid-90s here the next couple of days, and how about some 80s? Monday and Tuesday. We'll creep back up into the 90s by the time we hit Wednesday, though, and that's where we should wrap up next week. It does appear that storms will become pretty spotty after Monday, and we might not even have any around by about next Thursday or Friday. Canyon City, high temperatures in the mid to upper 80s most of the next 7 days. Look for low temperatures to be in the 60s. Storm coverages the next few days in that 20 to 30 percentile range. And again, Monday looks like the day where we could pick up the heaviest rain. By Thursday and Friday might be dry enough for us to get back up to around 90 degrees. Mountain communities should spend the next couple of days in the 70s. Again, storms, got to expect them, about a 30% coverage, might be up to about a 50% coverage on Monday, and the added storms could keep our temperatures in the 60s for most of the day. As we dry out, we'll get back in the mid-70s by the middle of next week. So Monday's the day in this next 7 that seems to stick out to us as the day where we have the best chance for heavy rain. Doesn't mean it'll happen everywhere,
Gotcha.
But it's certainly the day that we'll have to watch for that threat for some flash flooding on the burn scars.
Gotcha. So afternoon thunderstorms in August. I mean, shocker.
Imagine that, right?
All right, so definitely keep your rain jackets and umbrellas handy throughout the weekend. Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can really feel that humidity we were just saying in the air, so it's no surprise thunderstorms are just around the corner.
It is better this morning, by the way. Now, we were talking off air.
Yeah, yesterday.
It was a little uncomfortable yesterday.
Yeah, Colorado standards for humidity. It felt really high. All right, Marty, thanks for the heads up.
You're welcome.
Well, at least